Coming up on InfoSecSync, Meta pushing back an important rollout, what this means for privacy and security concerns across its various platforms.
Also ahead, a college student placing in the top 5 at a national cybersecurity competition.
And the warning this Thanksgiving holiday, don't let your guard down. We've got those stories and more, so get ready to get in sync with InfoSecSync.
You're watching the InfoSecSync Weekly News with Nick Thomas and news anchor Layla Gulen, sponsored by Axellio. Threat detection and response done right. Axellio. Also sponsored by Sirius Federal. Through high-level partnerships with the world's leading technology companies, Sirius Federal provides transformational technology solutions and services for the U.S. federal government. What's your mission?
Welcome to the InfoSecSync Weekly News for week ending November 26, 2021. I'm Layla Gulen with your host, Nick Thomas. Nick, how was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, Thanksgiving was great. I'm full from eating all that turkey and pumpkin pie and everything else. How about you?
It was fantastic. And of course, I have to admire your tie. It's very festive, very autumnal.
Thanks. And luckily for us, it was a very slow cyber week this week.
It certainly was, but something that is on a lot of people's minds, let's get right into it, taking their time to get it right. Well, Facebook parent Meta announced that it is delaying the rollout of a default end-to-end encryption across all its messaging service platforms until 2023. It's described as a three-pronged approach. The new scheme aims to employ a mix of non-encrypted data across its apps, as well as account information and reports from users to improve safety and combat abuse. Well, the new encryption would be applied to Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Users will have more control and actively encourage them to flag harmful messages. The Menlo Park-based tech company's products are used by nearly 3 billion users on a daily basis. Numbers just blows my mind. But question for you, Nick, how exactly will their model make the platform safer?
So they're talking safer because the messages are encrypted from end to end, but what's going on is there's child safety campaigners. They're saying that Meta's proposals would shield abusers from detection. And so the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, otherwise known as the NSPCC, they've said the private messaging is the front line of child sexual abuse online because it prevents law enforcement and tech platforms from seeing messages by ensuring that only the sender and recipient can view their content. So if anything ever happened to the child, they won't be able to see what was in that message.
Oh, fascinating.
So that's why they're delaying it, to find out what else they can do different.
I see. All right.
And with that, we've got more to come. Some customers may lose their appetite. A data breach at a popular restaurant chain. Details after the break.
Are you concerned the next news headline on a security breach includes your company name? In a recent IBM cyber report, 51% of all interviewed organizations reported a significant business disruption during the past 2 years due to a cybersecurity incident, while organizations using 50-plus security tools rank themselves lower in their ability to detect and respond to an attack, with the average security operation team using 70 tools. If more tools and data are not the answer, what can you do? Axellio works with you to optimize a threat detection and response solution to fit your environment to prevent tool and data overload. We leverage and optimize your existing infrastructure, enhanced with the Axellio platform as necessary, utilizing open source solutions where applicable. And we work closely with you to deploy, configure, document, and educate your team. Axellio, let's create the right security solution for your environment.
Welcome back. The Arizona-based web hosting giant GoDaddy disclosed a data breach that resulted in the unauthorized access of data belonging to a total of 1.2 million active and inactive customers. GoDaddy is the world's largest domain registrar and said that a malicious third party managed to gain access to its managed WordPress hosting environment in September. This is a third security incident to come to light since 2018. GoDaddy said it's in the process of issuing and installing new certificates for the impacted customers. Nick?
The GoDaddy hack exposed SSL keys issued to an undisclosed number of active customers using its managed WordPress website hosting service. Exposed data included the email address and customer number associated with the WordPress accounts, the default WordPress admin password that was set when the account was first provisioned, and secure FTP and database username and passwords. The incident has sparked concerns about attackers hijacking domains for ransomware or spoofing them for credential theft and other malicious purposes. As a precautionary measure, the company also stated it has reset the affected passwords and is bolstering its provisioning system with added security protections. GoDaddy claims more than 20 million customers with more than 82 million domain names registered using its services. Layla?
Well, Apple has filed a lawsuit against Israeli surveillance software maker NSO Group. The tech giant's suit is asking to ban the company from using its software, services, or devices. The claim accuses NSO Group of creating sophisticated state-sponsored surveillance technology that allows its highly targeted spyware to surveil its victims. It seeks to hold NSO Group accountable for hacking into Apple's iOS mobile platform with so-called zero-click exploits to spy on researchers, journalists, activists, dissidents, academics, and government officials. The Cupertino, California-based Apple says it would contribute $10 million to researchers and academia exposing cyber surveillance abuses. Nick?
Well, here's a pizza topping no one wants. California Pizza Kitchen, better known as CPK, they suffered a data breach that may have resulted in some of their personal information being accessed by hackers. Just over 103,000 people, including current and former employees, appear to have been affected by the data breach. The incident was identified in September. Some of the compromised files contained personal information related to its employees, including names and social security numbers. The company claims there is no evidence that the compromised information might have been misused. Layla?
How do you know if the information has been used or not? I mean, I gather we talk about these hacks and breaches that happen all the time, and you may notice charges to a credit card that you didn't make, but I mean, how do you know that, say, a social security number hasn't been used for something else?
That's the only way you're going to find out is if it happens to you. So you'd have to use something like Credit Karma or a third party that you either pay for that looks at all your information, or you put locks on your accounts for doing that, and you'll be notified if it gets used.
Yeah, and in this day and age, it's definitely worth doing.
Right.
Well, the FBI has issued a notification warning to private sector companies to be aware of ransomware actors using their undisclosed merger and acquisition data for extortion. The agency notes the ransomware is often a two-stage process: intrusion followed by reconnaissance, and then actual infection. Well, of the two, reconnaissance is the most important since ransomware actors carefully select the victim based on the information gleaned from its initial phase. Gangs will adapt their strategies to extort payouts from their attacks once organizations become more resilient to the traditional cybercriminal playbook of file encryption ransomware. Well, the most vulnerable companies are those listed or in the process of being listed on stock exchanges. Nick?
New details have emerged into an ongoing investigation into hack and leak as a service being offered by Indian and Gulf state businesses. Two Reuters reporters made the statements at CyberWarCon and say these crimes target clients looking to impact private sector civil litigation. Hack and leak operations are often associated with nation states, such as Russia's leak of Democratic Party officials' emails to interfere with the 2016 election. Over the course of their investigations, the reporters have obtained an 80,000 record archive of attacks from one commercial service involved in hack and leak for hire, giving them unprecedented visibility into how one firm conducts its campaigns. The records were provided from a service provider working with that contractor. The reporters found that the clients of the firms involved in hack and leak for hire tend to come from either the West or Gulf states. Victims are concentrated in the U.S. and Europe, with the second tier of targets in South America. Layla?
Interesting. Well, it's time for a break. When we return, outthink, outwit, outhack. Who took fifth place in a major cybersecurity competition? We'll be right back.
Innovation, technology, it's evolving at a rapid pace.
The growth of data in our space is outpacing the growth of humans.
And that's one of the challenges with technology. It never ends. The federal government is the most important customer in the world. Being able to help any agency, any MilDep, any part of the intelligence community means that you're having a direct impact on the safety, the future of this government and the individuals that live in this country. You're helping many people do a much larger job than yourself.
A student from the University of Alabama in Huntsville has placed 5th out of 120 teams in a nationwide virtual competition. The 3-week-long U.S. Department of Energy CyberForce competition presents competitors with a set of questions that reveal clues that guide them in solving complex tasks in a specific order. Called a CTF or Capture the Flag event, participants compete in security-themed challenges for the purpose of obtaining the highest score. Competitors are expected to capture the flags to increase their score. The Jeopardy-style contest involves a number of true-to-life cyber challenges that mirror the challenges professionals would face. These competitions are a great way to sharpen computer skills and network with industry professionals. Layla?
It sounds like Jeopardy on steroids, to be honest with you, Nick. I'm curious, have you ever competed in any of these competitions?
I actually haven't. It's exactly what it says. It's capture the flag, and there's Jeopardy questions you have to answer, and you have to know these things, and the higher up you go, the more questions you have, but the more clues that you're able to answer and capture the flag.
It sounds really tough. It also sounds like a really good way for companies and headhunters to kind of see what talent is out there. Is that kind of what the purpose of these are?
Absolutely. And if somebody either won that or was in a competition and I was hiring, I would want to know that on their resume. If they put that on there, I would like to know that they did it, how far they got, and what was the hardest thing for them in the competition. That's great things to know.
God, it's amazing. And a college student, no less. 5th place. Not too bad. Well, Chinese threat actors may increasingly look to steal sensitive encrypted data in hopes of decrypting it with quantum computing technology. Quantum computing differs from classical computing in that it centers on quantum theory and the ability of subatomic particles to exist in more than one state at a time. Still years away, researchers say Chinese threat actors may target government, private sector, and academic data with long-term value, including trade secrets, biometric identification markers, and social security numbers, among other areas. IT consulting firm Booz Allen Hamilton calls safeguarding critical data a cybersecurity imperative, noting that although quantum computing's benefits are far off, rapid advancement and a Chinese focus on next-gen technologies make the threat active. Nick?
But how far off is it really? Several quantum computers at global institutions can complete certain task orders of magnitude faster than any classical supercomputer. Although quantum computers' current abilities are more demonstrative than immediately useful, their trajectory suggests that in the coming decades, quantum computers will likely revolutionize numerous industries, from pharmaceuticals to material science. Booz Allen recommends CISOs manage strategic risk threats by conducting threat modeling to assess changes to organizational risk, develop an organizational strategy for deploying post-quantum encryption, and educate personnel and stay informed. Layla?
More than 9 million Android devices have been infected by a new class of malware. The campaign disguises itself as dozens of arcade, shooter, and strategy games on HUAWEI's App Gallery marketplace to steal device information and victims' mobile phone numbers. The Trojan has been classified as Android.Cenos.7.origin, owing to the fact that the malware is a modified version of the Cenos malware. Once installed, the apps prompted the victims for permission to make and manage phone calls, using the access to harvest their phone numbers along with other device information such as geolocation, mobile network parameters, and system metadata. At least 190 rogue games have been identified, some designed to target Russian-speaking users. Nick?
Vulnerabilities uncovered in Cisco firewall products can allow an unauthenticated attacker to trigger a denial of service condition. The flaws can be exploited if a user is running Cisco's adaptive security appliance, and ASA provides users with secure access to data and network resources, anytime, anywhere, using any device. Other flaws were found in the Cisco Firepower threat defense, with the vulnerable AnyConnect or Web VPN configuration. Cisco's FTD is unified software that is designed to provide next-generation firewall services. Researchers claim that if a hacker disrupts the operation of Cisco ASA and Cisco FTD, the user's company will be left without a firewall and remote access or VPN. So far, there's no workaround that addresses these vulnerabilities, but Cisco has released software updates and asks users to install them immediately. Layla?
Definitely don't want this for breakfast, Nick. Adversaries behind a newly discovered downloader malware known as SQUIRRELWAFFLE are exploiting proxy logon and proxy shell Microsoft Exchange Server vulnerabilities to send malicious replies to existing email threads. The tactic is a clever one. While employees with security awareness training might eye an unsolicited email warily, users are less likely to be suspicious of a response to an email chain that they've already been actively participating in. Before they know it, they might click on a link resulting in malware or fall for a business email compromise scam and wire funds to an attacker-controlled account. To defend against this threat, Trend Micro recommends to apply the most up-to-date patches to the proxy shell and proxy logon. Nick?
All right, when we come back, thousands of jobs and a solution to a major problem is coming to Texas. We'll explain after the break.
Are your security event notifications impossible to prioritize and act upon? Axellio's Packet Express platform provides total packet visibility that works with your existing analysis applications to enable a comprehensive threat response. Capture any traffic reliably at 100 gigabits per second. Distribute directly from disk to any security application at over 100 gigabits per second to keep up with traffic spikes and growth. Pivot directly from an event into the relevant packets for insightful pre- and post-event analysis. Packet Express for informed decisions and rapid incident response. Axellio. Detect, disrupt, defend.
Welcome back. Not a moment too soon. Samsung is planning to build a $17 billion semiconductor manufacturing facility in Texas. This would create 2,000 high-tech jobs directly and thousands more in the local economy once it's in full operation. The facility is an effort to tackle a global shortage of chips. The Biden administration has been pushing semiconductor production and research in the U.S., though the current global shortage of computer chips is primarily driven by the impact of the pandemic. Extreme weather events have hampered production as well as other factors. The Taylor site will span more than 5 million square meters and is expected to serve as a key location for Samsung's global semiconductor manufacturing capacity. The facility is expected to begin operations in the second half of 2024. Nick?
A Norway-based assurance and risk management company is acquiring industrial cybersecurity firm Applied Risk to bolster their efforts. DNV provides a number of services, including advisory, certification software, and verification assurance services to various industries, including maritime, oil, gas, aerospace, food and beverage, among others. Applied Risk provides industrial security certification and compliance, incident response and forensics, and training services to organizations in a wide range of industries. The companies will merge under the DNV brand. Financial terms of the deal have not been disclosed. Layla?
A popular peer-to-peer payment service has been hit by cyber criminals. ZELLE, which is partnered with dozens of banks and credit unions, suffered an attack that was based off a phishing scam with a spoofed text message from the target's bank warning about a suspicious transfer. Well, the bad actors got unsuspecting people to call back or respond by text, which resulted in funds being drained from accounts. An important aspect of this scam is that the fraudsters never needed to know or phish the victim's password. By sharing their username and reading back the one-time code sent to them via email, the victim is allowing the fraudster to reset their online banking password. How about that, Nick? These emails and texts, they seem so real when you get them. I get them all the time. What's the best way to identify an actual threat without clicking on links for responding to these communications? I mean, if you're getting a text saying that, you know, there's an issue with your account, you need to look at it, how do you know that that's a scam and not actually real?
Well, simply call the company or call the individual that is texting you the information, and you will learn that when this comes across that it's fake, and add it to your blocked contacts in your phone. That's what I do all the time. So I rarely get those anymore, but usually when I get them, they're really good. So I have to take a look before I click.
Yeah, nothing getting past you.
Yeah, hopefully not, right? Well, speaking of banks, the banks in the U.S. will soon be required to notify federal regulators of serious cybersecurity incidents within 36 hours. The rule applies to banking organizations and their service providers. Security incidents are incidents that result in actual harm to what we call CIA, confidentiality, integrity, or availability of information systems. Notification incidents are incidents that cause serious disruption to operations. These typically prevent banks from delivering its products and services, or ones that pose a risk to the stability of the financial sector. These include computer failures, distributed denial of service attacks, or ransomware attacks. Bank service providers will be required to report incidents to client banks in case banking services are or are likely to be disrupted for more than 4 hours. The new rules will take effect on April 1st, 2022, with full compliance extended to May 1st of 2022. Layla?
Well, finally, time to give thanks for the warning. U.S. officials are telling American businesses and government organizations to take extra precautions against hackers over the Thanksgiving holiday following multiple ransomware attacks during previous holiday periods. The advisory underscores how preparing for disruptive hacks has become a daily task for U.S. companies and agencies after a series of high-profile ransomware attacks on critical American infrastructure earlier this year. Ransomware isn't the only consideration when it comes to holiday scams. Europe's National Cybersecurity Center issued its own warning that cybercriminals had compromised customer payment information on 4,000 small business websites. Well, ransomware gangs like to strike on the weekend or during holidays when organizations are short-staffed and potentially off guard. Well, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of Nick and myself, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thanksgiving holiday weekend. We want to thank you so much for watching. You're now in sync with InfoSecSync. We'll see you again next week.
Technology is always moving forward, and one of the things that Sirius Federal does really well is understand how the technology pairs with what the business intent is for that customer. Cisco offers a really robust suite of products and solutions that really help move business intent forward, not just solve a singular problem.
Many organizations are protecting their environment through perimeter defense using a combination of firewalls, IDSs, IPSs, and endpoint protection. Even though cost-effective, recent events have shown that perimeter defense, even though necessary, is not sufficient when it comes to threat detection and response. And once a threat actor penetrates these defenses, what tools do you have to detect their every move or to stop their preparations for ransomware attacks or data exfiltration? At Excelio, we believe that comprehensive network visibility across your network, inside and out, is essential to identify and respond to today's threat actors. Packet Express provides the network visibility and contextual data to detect, prioritize, and mitigate threats, no matter where they hide. Excelio, threat detection and response solutions with Packet Express, the network visibility hub.